Hey guys, Chris here, and I just wanted to do a quick little video because something's come up that kind of means something to me, and apparently it means something to the gaming world because everyone's kind of pissed off right now. Uh, so BlizzCon is going on right now, and a couple days ago at the opening ceremony, they announced a new game. Everyone, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Diablo Immortal. And the reaction has been pretty negative. And I just kind of want to talk about, is that reaction, uh, is it valid? I guess. Is it has Blizzard deserved that reaction? Um, and it's interesting, really, because for me, I'm an old school Diablo 2 guy. And I've kind of become disenfranchised from Blizzard, well, especially the Blizzard's Diablo. People feel like Diablo turned their back on them a couple days ago. Well, for me, it felt like Blizzard turned their back on us Diablo 2 fans somewhere around 2006, 2007. Maybe it was a little bit later. I'm not sure the year, but it was right before Diablo 3 was released. I'll never remember. I'll never forget. I was watching a BlizzCon, and the D3 developers came up on stage, and they really seemed to have no regard for D2. And on top of that, it seemed like they were mocking us fans who were, we were worried about the direction of D3, and one of the developers even came on stage with this T-shirt on that was like light blue. It had rainbows and unicorns on it, something like that. And at first, I didn't realize the significance of that, what that was, but it hit me later that this was a guy who was actively mocking the D2 community, who had sort of started a meme about D3, because we were worried that the game was looking to be not dark enough, too bright, and it was kind of losing some of the atmosphere that we liked from D2. And here's a guy who's a developer who just doesn't give a shit about us, and he's going to make fun of us to our faces by wearing this shirt, wearing it ironically, obviously. Well, fast forward to 2018, and I think a lot of the D3 as well as D2 and Blizzard fan base in general are kind of getting that same feeling. This Diablo Immortal announcement, it was the #1 announcement for BlizzCon this year. They had hyped Diablo as, a big announcement was coming. And, what they show up with is a mobile game that, doesn't look that good. We're already pretty tired of microtransactions, and this feels like, it's just going to be another big microtransaction game. But what Diablo Immortal isn't really the point. Whether or not I'm disappointed isn't really the point either. Is the reaction that we're looking at now, is it justified? And I'm not sure how, I'm really not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you, because on one hand, Diablo Immortal seems like, it really seems like a crap game. It really does. The company that well, here's another big thing. Diablo Immortal isn't even really produced by Blizzard. They're working with another company, quotes, air quotes there. So they're working with a company called NetEase, and this is a Chinese company that has put out quite a few mobile games, mostly for the Chinese market. And it's not a very well respected Chinese company. As a matter of fact, some of the reactions that I've read online are coming from Chinese fans of Blizzard, and they're pretty mad too, because they're just seeing this as another microtransaction cash grab sort of situation. Although, as bad as that is, you know, for one, Blizzard, who is known for producing really, really good quality games, having them farm out this game is kind of a big deal and a big disappointment. But also, farming it out to a not well respected company is another kind of big deal. But is that worth the reaction? And I don't know, you know. But I guess it kind of gets worse, right? Because they've been hyping this. It's been the announcement they've been hyping for a while now for this BlizzCon. There's not a lot going on in BlizzCon. It really seems to me that Blizzard is throwing out a lot of announcements earlier. You know, there's several cons that they want to have a big announcement for, and they're announcing a lot of things at these other cons, which is leaving BlizzCon with less content to talk about. And, you know, I don't know if that's for the better or worse, but that just seems like what's going on. But for this BlizzCon, there really isn't a lot to talk about. I think maybe the Warcraft 3 remastered game is pretty cool, and that's probably what they should have ended with, because that's a much bigger deal than a mobile Diablo game, especially when it's just the Diablo 3. It's just a Diablo 3 clone that's being reskinned. At least that's what it looks like. So what's the big deal? We already have D3 in a better form. Hell, it's in a better form on the Switch that it's just come out. Why would they make such a big deal out of this? Maybe the Chinese market is just that big, and the mobile market there is so valuable that they wanted to stress this game. Well, you can see here's the new president of Blizzard. Mike Morhaime is leaving. Let's go ahead and skip ahead to the Diablo. I thought this was pretty good here. The new Overwatch character, but it's just a character, right? I mean, it's not much. It's a really nice movie, little mini movie. And then here's Warcraft 3 Remastered. This is pretty cool. I really think this should have been the main announcement for this BlizzCon. Warcraft 3 is a really, really important game, and having a remaster, it just means a lot to the Warcraft 3 fans. Let's scoot on over. So here comes the announcement.
BlizzCon, we love Diablo. We love the way Diablo has brought millions of players around the world together to slay demons. Our modern world is an increasingly connected one. Our mobile devices keep us.
This is where things start to fall apart.
Family and loved ones. So we knew we want to use mobile devices as the platform for a new Diablo game, because nothing brings a family together like slaying demons. But we want to do it in a way that's true to Blizzard, putting gameplay first. We want to do it in a way that feels right.
Look at those. Look at the comments. No. Oh man.
RPG you can play everywhere with everyone. Now I have a cinematic to show you, but first, allow me to set the stage. At the end,
look at this. Now these are reactions in real time before the sort of the mob mentality has hit.
The stone is an object of immense power. It has the power to create.
So at this point in the announcement, I was really shaking my head. Not so much that I thought this was a bad idea. I was mostly shaking my head at this point because I knew it right now that Diablo Immortal wasn't for me. And I've been hoping for another Diablo game that I could connect with before D3 was released. Now, I've still played D2, so I still have D2, so we still got that, right? But it's an old game, and it doesn't really match up to the new stuff. And there's some things in D3 that are better than D2. It's just can't deny it. But when it became clear this was a mobile game, I don't play mobile games. I have no interest in mobile games, and I really detest microtransactions, which is sort of the cash flow for developers in mobile games. And look at those comments. It's telling that this is the moment that D3 is being announced, that these comments are hitting. Mobile is trashed. Mobile question marks. Please don't ruin this. No, that's so bad. No mobile. Sigh. And good old Magnus, though. Magnus, we love you, fella. He's excited. At least someone's excited. LOL, mobile. Turning off now. GG. Blizzard, you save the worst till the last. I think that's the sentiment that most people feel and have felt. And, you know, this is going on before the mob sort of hit. You know, there's definitely a mob mentality now with this Diablo Immortal announcement. I don't feel like this is a situation where gamers are overstating the situation and the badness, I guess, of the situation. This is really bad, right? This is the big BlizzCon announcement. It's the peak. This is the pinnacle of the year for Blizzard, and this is what they give us. And not only it's just so bad. Okay, so not only is it a mobile game, it's a mobile game that's not produced by Blizzard. It's a mobile game that's being produced by a not very well respected publisher. It's going to be microtransacted out the wazoo. It's just a reskin of a couple other mobile games that are already in existence. And on top of all that, this is the main announcement that the Blizzard Brain Trust thought that we would be excited about. I mean, part of me feels sad for them because I don't think they thought this would be such a big deal. And maybe they thought people would welcome it with open arms. But there's just so many problems. Man. Okay, so now let's look at some of the reactions. I've got the Diablo Reddit queued up here. What I've seen here is a lot of sort of like people getting together and comparing notes for why they're unhappy. So, but there's also a bit of sort of rejoicing in their opinion, I guess, and the fact that others share that opinion. I like this first one. Hey Blizzard, I hate to be the one to bring this up, but this PR nightmare that you are dealing with right now is because everyone is connected at all times with their phones, which is funny, actually. That's a pretty funny one. During the announcement, or not the announcement, but right after the announcement, they had a panel, and the panel was pretty funny. One guy asked if this was an April Fool's joke. But at another point in time, one of the developers asked everyone, because they weren't happy, I think they were booing actually, and he asked if they had phones or not, which I think is going to end up being a meme for a while because it's really funny. I think it's funny on both ends because they're frustrated, but he was making a joke, and but these right here, these posts, people are sort of rejoicing in the fact that the Diablo Immortal trailer is so disliked. It's actually, I think they took it down, and at the time they took it down, it was the most disliked video on YouTube, which is saying a lot. is another one about the dislikes. I think this is a pretty legitimate complaint. The dark-skinned characters were taken out of Diablo Immortal. Now, why is that? It seems pretty like a pretty bad decision to me. People booing at BlizzCon, and again, this is people booing before the pitchforks came out. This is individual decisions, not a mob decision. This is an interesting one. Diablo Immortal already has the Editor's Choice Award before it's released to the Google Play Store. I don't know. Maybe the editor got a copy ahead of time and he liked it, but it's still kind of suspicious. Okay, well, that's kind of enough here. So I'm starting to come to the realization that I'm not sure the backlash isn't warranted. You know, all those reasons I listed a little while ago. I'm not sure it's the worst thing that could ever happen, and maybe the biggest problem isn't that Diablo Immortal exists. It's that they chose to announce it when they did. I think that's the biggest problem. You don't announce a crappy mobile game that's a reskin of a ripoff of your franchise, or at least one of your franchises, and expect people to be happy about it. And you especially don't hype that and make it your #1 announcement for your most important convention of the year. Now, if they wanted to do, Diablo Immortal as a side thing, and maybe announce it at a smaller con or as a small announcement during BlizzCon, it wouldn't have gotten this sort of reaction. But man, I really feel sad for the Diablo franchise, and I don't know where it's going to go from here. I mean, hopefully D4 is in the works, or hopefully a D2 remaster is in the works, although I think there's problems with the D2 remaster. Well, anyway, it's about time I need to wrap this up, because it's going on a little bit too long. So I think maybe the backlash is a little bit too harsh, but I think it's also deserved. It's just, I think it's bad, right? And the thing is, we already have a nice version of D3 Mobile on the Switch. And let's be honest, Diablo Immortal is Diablo 3 optimized for a phone. It's got the same classes, and it's just D3. It's made by or at least the development was shepherded by the D3 developers. So, well, I think that's it for this. I'm not sure if this video is actually helping at all. I'm not sure if it's even something I should put up, but that is my thoughts on Diablo 3 Immortal. And at this point, I can only hope for the best for the future, and hope that, maybe D2 Remaster will come. But like I said before, there's problems with the D2 Remaster. You're still going to have gameplay that is a little bit archaic compared to modern games. And while D2 is still fun, it doesn't translate as well as something like Warcraft 3 or StarCraft. So if you produce a D2 remaster, you're going to have to mess with the game to update it a little bit, and that's going to have some serious mixed reactions if they do that. And then there's the possibility of a D4, but given Blizzard's treatment of D3 and this Diablo Immortal situation, I'm not sure I trust them with a whole new game. They're obviously wanting to monetize Diablo in a modern way. So what does that mean for D4? Diablo was always the pay once and play forever game. And obviously they're wanting to change that. So I'm worried about D4. Okay, well, I think that's it. That's enough for me today. I hope you got something out of this. I think I'm a little more clear about where I am with this situation. Hopefully, you guys can get there too. All right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.